Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining in. Today, for this session, we have Harish Sarma with us. He's a marketing and product director at Pluxee India. He will share his insights and experience on building a career in marketing. And this session will be an excellent learning opportunity for campus students aspiring for a career in marketing. So now, Harish will start the session. Over to you, Harish.
Thanks, Prasan. Thank you also to the first Naukri team for having me for this webinar. I can see people have joined. Thank you for everyone for taking time out and joining this session. I hope it will be a good learning experience for you and also for me for sure, where I can share some of my experiences about what I've been doing, what a career in marketing according to me looks like, and hopefully it'll be great learning for the both of us. So quick background about me. I am, as you can see on this first slide, I'm the marketing and product director at Pluxee India. By education, I am an engineer. I did my electronics and communication engineering from NIT Durgapur, and after that, I have some experience working in the software in the IT domain with Accenture. Post my stint, I went back to academics to transition to the business side of things, and I completed my PGTM from IIM Calcutta. End of my course, I graduated top of my class in marketing, and that kind of set the context for a career in marketing for me. In terms of experience, I have extensive experience across FMCG. I've worked in ITC for a good period in the trade marketing and distribution division. And post that, I have experience across telecom as a product manager, but also as someone who is dealt with extensively in the consumer lifecycle management, customer lifecycle management side, working with large data sets. And for the past 6 years now, close to 7 years now, I've been with Pluxee India. Previously, Sodexo Benefits and Reward Services. We are a fintech company, licensed prepaid instrument issuer by and the licenses issued by the Reserve Bank of India. And this company essentially, as some of you or many of you may know, is in the employee benefit space. So that's where I manage today a team which looks after digital marketing and demand generation, what we call performance marketing in the industry lingo. Team of product managers. So I'm also head of product for the company. So I have a team of product managers who work on both the product marketing and the product management aspects of things. There is a branding and communication team which deals with all aspects of branding and communication, and we have a specific setup for consumer marketing. So it makes the company very unique, but more about that as we go along. I'll try to keep the session for around the next 40 minutes or 35 to 40 minutes, where I'll be talking, and then we can take some questions in between. If you have any questions in the interim, you can already start putting it on the chat window, and we can take them as we move along. So very quickly, I understand the background is also there are a lot of people who've joined who are fresh in the corporate world. So we'll be covering a little bit about what, according to me, seems is a good way of building a strong foundation for a marketing career. Some essential skills that I have now learned are key to build a career in marketing. Some challenges that you will face if you are decided that marketing is your forte, or marketing is where you want to build a career, or you already started in this area, but you've spent the initial few areas. I'll share my experience of what sort of challenges you can expect, what sort of key learning and rewards come along the way. We'll share with you some successful marketing campaigns. So there are 2 from the industry and 1 from my own work experience in the past 2 years now, and I hope you will see a good expanse of what the industry or what this line of work looks like. I'll very quickly share. I won't spend a lot of time because I'm sure a lot of you are reading up extensively on the marketing domain. I'll share with you some future trends that I've seen are making big waves. And if you are looking at marketing as a career, something that if you've not started reading about them, probably it's a good time to start already updating yourself on it. And finally, I thought it's also a good area to not only share with you specifically on marketing, but also share with you some tips that I've got within my 14 or close to 15 years of work experience now in about how to build a successful corporate career. Because I work in product and marketing now, I'm closely associated with the strategy and the strategic relationships in the company. And before this, I've worked in other domains, including customer analytics. I can tell you, I thought I'd share with you some tips that I've picked up on which are applicable to all of these work domains. And of course, then we come to the Q&A. Quickly jumping in to the first section, I think it's a self-explanatory part. If you are in this webinar, I'm assuming you already know or you're already interested extensively in the marketing area. But we thought still it might be a good idea to share with you some background so about what is marketing, etc., and how the space has been evolving, what I've been seeing over my career. So, as you're aware, or as you would know, that marketing, brand and marketing is um, is a very extensive area, and there are a lot of things that this industry entails. But some of the key KPIs that you can expect according in this area are around creating awareness. That will be a key, irrespective of what industry you are a marketeer in, or what you do, or what your JD looks like. Creating awareness is pretty basic in terms of what you need to do, but it has many, many different aspects to it. A big part of a good marketing career entails driving sales and revenue. So it's a revenue generation or a P&L role. Um, as you will see in most or many industries, reinforcing the brand identity, ensuring the brand is moving in the right direction is a big part of marketer's role. And of course, there is customer loyalty. There are many, many areas that marketing is split into now. And I can tell you, as someone who's spent the first part of his career exclusively on B2C and now working in the B2B2C area. So the first three are essentially where I work today. I can tell you each of these areas are oceans in themselves to jump into, and there's a lot to do. But if you just look at the specific marketing models, and this is evolving very, very fast, specifically with social media. C2C or P2P, yeah, it's been evolving, but if I have to say, probably it's gathered a lot of steam in the last 5 or 6 years. This was not an area when I was, when probably I was studying marketing. This was not an area where you had a lot of literature, but today this is an area which is fast moving, fast evolving, and fast catching up. Uh, but then B2B, B2C, and B2B2C, where I can share a lot of insights with you. Of course, there is direct to consumer also. Essentially, if you have any sort of a business where you directly, are marketing to consumers, that is where D2C comes. There is in most of the D2C businesses, there is a distribution arrangement involved, and in C2C, essentially, the company's focus is only on marketing and reaching out directly to consumers. So what has happened? How has this scene been evolving? Just give me 1 second. So, yeah, I thought this might be better by me removing the mic. So what has happened? How have things been evolving? I think 2016 onwards, the entire industry has seen a big transformation. Every year, every 2 3 years, marketing as a domain sees transformation. But since 2016, I think this has just escalated, and this is not in any small measure because of how the telecommunication landscape has evolved. As most of you might be aware or would be aware, India has the cheapest data rates globally, and that has kind of changed the way we have. What that means is more access for people to data, but then again, as a marketer, it's an opportunity because more people using data, reaching out to using many forums of digital, then brings more data back your way, which can be leveraged to run more successful and more effective marketing campaigns. There's been a big shift in the audiences and what they consume. Content is now pretty cheap again, so and it's all over the place. There's a lot of content viewership. You can step into any public transport and you'll see so many people, uh, you know, using content in many forms. Another change is, I think, a lot of what has happened in terms of cross-cultural content seeding has also gained a lot of space and speed. So today, it's not rare for us to be consuming content from other cultural contexts or other countries very, very seamlessly, thanks to all the OTT boom that's happened. This all, again, as I said, is helping us be more targeted, and the expectation also. So if you're trying to be a marketer, your colleagues, your sales head, your marketing, your finance director, your CEO is always going to expect that you will bring more and more targeted campaigns. So this is a truth. Digital is a complicated and a very diverse space, but it's expected that you will always be more and more targeted in how you spend your marketing dollars. Influencer marketing and has become a big boom area with social media. But of course, there is, as we've seen probably in the last 2 weeks, this is a this is a space where you need to tread carefully. And of course, apps. Uh, as the proliferation of apps increases, this brings more opportunities but also, the place is cluttered, but you still have more opportunities to reach out to your target audience. And then, of course, on the right, there's been the boom of the unicorns, or we call the soonicorns, the soon-to-be unicorns. And then there's this entire niche of unicorn marketing that's been. So these are few trends I thought I'll share with you of what, how I've seen the industry evolving. So what are some essential skills? I don't want to be too preachy here. I don't claim to be knowing a lot. I'm still, in a lot of ways, I'm also as much as a learner as anyone else on this call. But some essential skills that I think are very, very key today, because 9 out of 10 rooms you enter as a marketer, these are things that are going to be spoken about. So you need to have good working understanding, and hopefully go beyond that so that you can be a key contributor in these areas. Because digital marketing is a must-have expertise pretty much now, if I may call it that. There are different areas. When you start your career specifically, you might not have something which has this very, very clear focus or onus or line of vision in digital marketing. But what I would recommend is for you to at least learn up and upskill in this area, read as much literature as possible. If you can, get your hands dirty, because that's the only way you can learn in this. And what are the things you can learn here? There is, of course, search engine optimization and marketing. Social media marketing is a good place to start, or a good place to learn, because that's an area. If you're B2C, it's important, but I can tell you, coming from the B2B background, it's as relevant. There's, of course, email marketing, and of course, but within all of this, and that's where the importance of using tools and getting your hands dirty comes in, is a whole mine of data and analytics. So it's important to at least start engaging with these data points, because then it also starts thinking of what sort of essential data points are available, what's not available, whatever is available, how do we make the best of it. So it'll be nice if you're a starter, or it's your first few years in marketing, to already start thinking in a data oriented approach, irrespective of what your campaign objective is. Data is key. That's pretty much the second point also that I had. Now, effective storytelling, and we'll see some examples also. I think a lot of it, when it comes to demand generation in B2B specifically, but also increasingly and much more and more in B2C, and you're seeing this, having the right orientation towards content creation, storytelling, nurture campaigns is very, very important. So while social media and everything that we browse today is just replete with all of these examples, it's good to understand the key levers that go under these, that lie under these, under telling a good story or having a good content strategy. And if you can learn that, that's an invaluable skill to have. Social media engagement, again, how do you engage? How do you ensure that you have this sort of thought leadership in whichever area that your company operates in? How do you enhance your brand presence? How do small things like even today you're having, and most companies have this, how do you effectively grow your followers? How do you ensure that your organic reach is more, and so your paid reach uh, can be optimized? These are all areas to learn and to see and to understand. And if you are in B school right now, and this is something I did back in B school, it's important to also, or a good idea to also use your B school experience into it. So when I was in B school, we started what was at that point in time India's first campus marketing blog called the Marketeers.in. And if you're in B school, then you realize that you have to balance a lot of plates, including your academics, your extracurriculars, and all of these learning opportunities that come along the way. So it gave me a lot of lessons into how to do things. For example, like I just steal one example for now. We realized that there might be certain windows where your content output as a team is low, and then your visits and your leadership, etc., goes down. So how do you then come back and create a strategy where you can again bring that leadership to your platform? How can you enhance reach of your platform and seed your platform? How can you whenever you put out any new content, how do you promote that? All of these are small learnings, but eventually you will see a lot of this very useful in your corporate career. And this is marketing automation. This is what I see. A lot of people don't have a lot of expertise. I think there's a case also for our entire academic system to evolve. But eventually, um, even whatever industry you are, I today work for B2B2C, but I can talk to you about B2C before this. Nothing of what you do through your digital marketing strategy, the data and the intelligence you generate, none of that is manageable over things like Excel. So you need to learn about this entire family of tools that we call marketing automation, which helps you develop 360-degree views of consumers, bring back all data, helps you with attribution, helps you with understanding which of your channels is working better, and helps you do all of this without having to really micromanage. You just run the campaigns for that. So there are many tools in this area, and there are suites. I can give you some names, including from HubSpot, from Adobe, from in India, from companies like Lead Squared, from Zoho. So this is an area where you can read up a little bit and learn, because this is something any it's already very ubiquitous. And as you move ahead and as more and more data proliferation happens, this is something that most companies are seeing is a must have, not a good to have. So those are some things, some essential skills I thought. I'm sure a lot of this you already know, but I'm just trying to reiterate here and share with you my practical experiences. Moving on to some challenges that you can expect, and some challenges that I can tell you I have seen in the past few years. So as a marketeer, knowing the market, knowing what people are doing from a product offering standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, this remains. And the objective of knowing is, of course, because that there is intense competition, and that you are always expected as the marketing engine to be the front line in terms of helping your business navigate its way through this competition and have top of mind recall or near top of mind recall. So this is a challenge that always remains. And again, that's where all the tools that we spoke about need to come together in the form of more and more effective marketing campaigns, so that you can do that. So this is one challenge that you can expect pretty much every day of your working career if you choose a career in marketing. We all want to do many things, but truth of life is at some point you will start managing a budget, and when you start managing a budget, you will realize that there is always this gap between how ambitious you want to be on your marketing goals and what sort of budgets are you talking about. This again then feeds back into things like return on marketing spends, and even conversion rates, etc. So that's a balancing act that you need to continuously do. And for that, again, knowing the market, knowing your channels is very important. Let me give one example from the B2B space. If you have a certain objective in terms of presence and staying relevant from within your TG, and in the B2B space, events is an important thing, but you need to really know all the events that are out there that the industry offers, to then choose most effectively, because it's going to be nearly impossible for most organizations. Of course, there are exceptions to this, but for most organizations, it's going to be really impossible to spend and be present in each and every event. You will see also, it's also finally what marketing does in organizations also feeds into your sales engine. So it's not going to be productive if you're going to try to be everywhere. So you need to be really selective. So there is a budget angle, but also a productivity angle on this. Then there is a constant shift in consumer behavior and preferences, including media channels, including how they want to be reached, including where is it that they're spending a lot of time. And like I have heard at least 3 times this week, including in a workshop that I attended earlier this week, given the limitations of time and attention span, you need to be on top of these behaviors or know these new channels so that you can establish your presence there, but we also know which one to use most effectively. And finally, there are technological changes also happening on the consumer side. There are changes, but also there are technological changes happening. If I just give you one channel, like say Facebook, I can tell you over the past 12 months, there are at least 3 or 4 very, very major changes that have happened on the platform. The policies change, what sort of campaigns they allow you that change, the budgeting changes. So you need to be really on top to know everything that's being offered so that you can really quickly rejig your campaigns. Most of these tools, by the way, have a learning cycle. So you need to get through the learning cycle to actually run your campaign. So it's a constant race in that sense. And some learnings, and I think spoken about many of these, but I'll only touch upon a few here. So as I said, a lot of this comes down to clear and compelling communication. I'll also touch upon this later, but this communication is more from a marketing standpoint. So having the most clear, clutter-free communication, knowing your product attributes, putting that into a chain of thought that your target group can follow is really key. Creativity always has, a high score. And when I say creativity, once the rubber hits the road and you join a company, you will see it's not only about being creative, but also being, optimal in your messaging, knowing what not to say. So there are a lot of angles on this that needs to be, and a lot of boxes to tick. But creativity can always be that delta that can help you create really memorable and unique campaigns. Finally, um, it's true in any line of business now. It's including if you are direct to consumer or B2C or B2B, uh, through social media, through all of these apps. The idea is more and more not being transactional in your sales. Even if you have a product which probably you want to sell only 1 in 2 or 3 years, like a washing machine, because that's the typical sales cycle. Ensuring you have a long-term relationship with the consumers, whenever they need to reach out to you, have personalized experience, etc., can be that difference between winning or losing deals, and that then translates into profitability, etc. So in the next section, I thought we'll share a few videos because video can speak 1,000 words, and these are 3 campaigns that I share. But in between, I'll talk you through the first campaign that I'll share. It's just, again, it's not a campaign in that sense. It's just one video showcasing this very, very unique sort of positioning that Hewlett Packard chose to do. And it's based pretty much on it's a message. Instead of talking about their product attributes, they've focused and going product first, and saying, okay, this is what I have to offer to you. What they chose to do was to speak about, try to touch upon latent needs that each and every organization has, and then from that work their way backwards to promote their product. So let's quickly look at this video. Can we just play this video, please? First video.
Sheep never realize there's a wolf around until it's too late. Then they do exactly what the wolf expects them to do. They run into each other, they fall down, they become dinner. Time to eat. They've got no idea I use my phone to hack the OS on that printer over there. And why would they? Not one printer in this place has built-in malware protection. Now, while they're all busy watching a little something I threw up on the control panel,
Just look at your screen.
I can intercept all their print jobs until I find the info I'm looking for. Ooh, yeah, today's somebody's birthday. Perfect. The really good stuff is upstairs. The kind of stuff that could destroy any future this grand financial institution could hope to have. Oh! I love a good office party. Everyone looks so happy.
Happy birthday.
Especially Janice. Thought everybody would forget her birthday. Not me. Look, Janice, just got an email. What's that? A gift certificate from your favorite spa to honor the big day? How thoughtful. Now all you gotta do is print it. Oh, come on, Janice. It's legit. You just gotta print it out. Come on. We all know you love a good foot rub. That's it. Now I have access to every computer on the network. How, you ask? Well, none of the printers here automatically monitor for threats, so that gift certificate I just sent Janice to print was actually hiding my malware in the print stream, bypassing the company's security. Which means now I can use the printer to get around the firewall and, surprise, access all the unencrypted data and route it to myself. I know it's a mouthful, but it's actually really simple. Because these guys don't automate their security monitoring, not only can I see every document that gets printed in this place, I can see all the good stuff hiding on their computers, too. Now it's a party. Tomorrow's a big day for this place. Looks like they've got a presentation to their most important client about a confidential private stock offering. Sure hope everybody's getting a good night's sleep. They are gonna need it. It's funny how much stuff people leave in the office, huh? It's like they want me to take their personal information. I'm Mr. Vice President of blah, 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 and my life is ruined. These folks have no idea that when they come to work in the morning, I not only have helped myself to their personal identities, but I've gotten hold of their clients' most sensitive financial information. The ironic thing is these guys probably spent a fortune securing their network and their servers. But because no one bothered to arm any of these PCs with the BIOS defense system, my malware is free to do its thing. Oh! Now that's what I call a metaphor. Oh yeah, no, there's a lot riding on this meeting. You might even say the future of both companies. I had some huge elaborate plan to worm my way into the video conference, but turns out I didn't have to. See this dude over my shoulder here? Guy who looks like he's about to wet his pants? Well, he was so nervous, he forgot to pick up the key part of the presentation right off the printer. So now, it's just sitting here, waiting for anybody with an axe to grind to pick it up and share it with someone like me. Because this bad boy doesn't have user authentication. It's easy for print jobs like these to go unclaimed. Bingo. First, I got control of their printers. Then, I got control of their network. Then, I got control of their data. And now, this. All the juicy details of a major acquisition. You can see where they wanted to keep it quiet. Along with everything else I've stolen from this place, these guys are in for a really bad day. Truth is, I don't really have anything against them. And they seem like perfectly nice people. But that's beside the point. Why am I exposing one of the financial world's most important secrets? Because I can. And who knows? Maybe next time I'll come after yours.
So when you saw this, and I'm sure you have your own understanding and set of thoughts on this, but just quickly, just touching upon two or three observations that really interested me in this campaign. They don't speak about their products, as I said. It's more about a need creation or a need evaluation or a need discovery sort of a campaign. I think if any of you working or even in your other in your otherwise educational life and all the literature you read, we all harp upon the fact that content needs to be quick, small, short, bite-sized. People don't have time nowadays, but here this company has taken a longer format route. Of course, it's a B2B sell, so the forums or the way they use the content might be very different, but it's kind of you need to always take not uh, the most templated or most obvious way or most common things that you hear, but it's important that you chart your own um, territory, and you do that basis a clear understanding of what your product is and how it works. There's no one size fits all. And finally, if you see this entire video, it was based on the financial sector. So I think there an intrinsic message in understanding the industry and their core audience. But B also, the entire story weaves around a printer or print job or print jobs sort of scenario. But in the end, there is also a wider marketing of not only printers but also their range of desktops and laptops. So I think that's where someone from the other team got smart and said, "Hey, you're spending all this money. Why don't you do the other products also?" But jokes apart, I think it's smart how they've not tried to tell the story for all of these product lines separately, because that would have been really complicated and long. It just picks one product, tells a nice narrative, and then builds it right in the end. So that was the first example I thought I'd share. The second example is another unique, challenge, uh, and this is about a brand, McDonald's, where they have this market where they've realized that there is some sort of a predefined notion. The market, of course, in terms of food, there is a very unique market need or how the market perceives food, and this brand within that ecosystem is perceived in a very specific way. So the challenge that McDonald's was trying to solve is to really break this predefined notion, or if I may even call it inhibition, about McDonald's and what they can do. And they did it through this as you saw, the last one was only a video. This one is a slightly larger campaign because it also brings in social media. It also brings some physical elements of actually doing stuff. So we go from seeing one video on a specific market ask or a marketing objective, to a second one which is a slightly more larger expense. Can you please play this video? Second one.
Buono è una parolona.
Mangiare un hamburger vero non è mangiare l'hamburger di McDonald's.
Italians have prejudices against the McDonald's taste. How can a McDonald's restaurant become a media for those who underestimate it? By hiding its face. In the city centre of Milan, we opened a McDonald's, but we transformed it, disguising it as a gourmet burger restaurant. the single burger. Two famous chefs, Maurizio and Andrea, pretended to be the creators of the dishes. But what we actually did was to serve classic McDonald's burgers, cooked exclusively by a McDonald's crew. Exactly the same burgers you can find at McDonald's, but served on a slate plate. And this is what happens when you eat McDonald's without knowing it's McDonald's. After 3 days and hundreds of enthusiastic clients, we drop the mask. And in a few hours, the whole country knew about the experiment.
So again, a very unique campaign in its own way. What I also like and what I feel is really brave about the brand is the fact that they are very openly talking about, something which, in a way, of course, you can say that it might be a very well-known fact, but for a brand to go out there and put it and say that Italians don't like McDonald's, etc., is a brave thing to do. But I think smartly overall they weaved a smart campaign. It's kind of course, the goes back to the Coca-Cola taste test from many years back. But it was a smart way to kind of just bring all of this together and see how they can penetrate the market. So this was the second example that I want to say, and as you saw there, they've tied physical campaign. There are chefs that they've chosen to really mask what they were doing. There is a physical store. There are signboards. Then there's that entire gamification around switching the signboards and people sitting in a restaurant when they actually do that. It's not that from one day to another they switched the brand, but they did it when people were there to create that aha moment and leverage that. But also then later on you see all of that being used in a social media campaign and them also speaking about their campaigns. This is all this is all part of the larger marketing game that they planned to really achieve their objectives. Finally, the last example I have is probably my most favorite one because it's about a brand that I have the good fortune of working on. And I'll talk about the Pluxee India launch campaign. This is probably out of the three, the most recent one. It's from September. This last year is when it started, and it's still probably towards the end of it, but we're still pretty much, in campaign mode. So essentially, through this campaign, what we did was Sodexo Benefits and Reward Services is part of Sodexo brand umbrella, and there are two companies there. There is the company that I represent. It's called Benefits and Reward Services. As I said, it's a fintech, a licensed, RBI licensed prepaid instrument issuer, etc., etc. And we work in the employee benefit space. But there is also the on-site services business of Sodexo and joint, and together these two companies employ close to 420,000 employees worldwide. And we were under the same umbrella, both companies growing very aggressively. And Benefits and Reward Services, we realized we have 5,000 colleagues globally. We realized that we want to branch out, business growing exponentially on its own also. And it's based out of 31 countries. And this business is also getting spun off, has been spun off effectively 1st of February. Pluxee has been listed separately on the Paris Stock Exchange. Initially, it was Sodexo, and both the businesses under Sodexo. Now, Sodexo continues its listing, and the on-site services business continues with the Sodexo branding. And our business branched out as Pluxee and has been separately listed. So to do this, where we had to start, where we chose to start is with the brand, and we transitioned the brand. So it's a project which has been many months in the works. And last June is when we revealed the brand to the world globally, and then one after the other countries started moving. In India, Sodexo is a very well-known brand in the corporate space. I might go as far as saying it's almost the category code in the employee benefit space. So it was a big challenge for us, and we did a whole range of activities which we will show you through this, which I'll show you through this video. And it was a very challenging but very inspiring project, and I'm really thankful that I worked for Pluxee and I could actually work on a campaign like this where a legacy has been created with a brand which is 26 years known in the market, 26 years young in the market, known very well, and we transitioned it to a completely new brand. So can we just play the video and share the Pluxee India launch campaign? So quick sneak peek into the campaign that we did, and as you could see, probably being a B2B2C player, there is our client base that we had to address. There is a consumer base which is close to 3.5 million strong, 35 lakh strong, 7,000 plus clients, and a huge merchant base, which is we have direct relationships where we service close to 150,000 plus touch points across 1,800 plus towns in India. So it's a huge base which we had to bring, along with us on this campaign. And as you saw, there were elements of digital, a new website, social media, PR and traditional media, outdoors, events, the whole works that we had to do. And of course, underneath all of these, there are multiple nuts and bolts. Like, if you talk about the website, there is a complete SEO strategy. There is how do we shift, how do we shift our SEM strategy, and how do we maintain all of that. So it's been many months, and it's been a really proud experience. Of course, all the other assets have also transitioned. So it's been quite remarkable journey to be a part of. So these were a few examples that I wanted to share on the campaign, and as you saw, and that's why I hope it could give you an expand. There was first where it was a unique video-based marketing objective. Then then you saw an example where it's a specific objective or a specific campaign across multiple media, and then I thought we'll share with you this campaign, which is many months of marketing firepower being targeted. So my final two parts about new age marketing, and I'm cognizant that we're running out of time, so I'll just be really quick here. But thought I'll just share some areas which I see as um, emerging areas where I'm sure some of you might already have some understanding or might be reading. So if you're not, then I would recommend these are areas that you can probably look at, as a student of marketing. So there's the first area about experiential marketing, but this is evolving very quickly. Immersive marketing, and it kind of touches with the second web 3.0. So of course 2.0 is the social media age, but 3.0 things like virtual reality, augmented reality are really a lot of first steps are happening. But as we saw last year, or pretty much 2022 end, when a new trend will become mainstream nowadays, the cycle for that is really short. I think how generative AI has really captured the imagination, and we were using it, of course, in a lot of areas, including social media marketing, but how it could really become mainstream in a really short period. We saw the power of that last year, and as we grow and as technology evolves, we are only going to see shorter and shorter cycles for things we feel are really far away. They'll really quickly become mainstream. So experiential marketing, Web 3.0, smart contracts, for instance, is a whole world in itself. So if you like to read about this, please do. But this has multiple ramifications across areas which as marketers we deal with, including contracting, digital logistics, pricing. So there are a lot of areas where there are many use cases. Of course, these technologies are now out, and it's for all of marketers like us to see how we put this into practice in many different areas, and then it also ties back and brings in other advantages, including things like sustainability, productivity, cost savings, etc. And the final area is, of course, generative AI and AI tools. I've been speaking and interacting a lot on this area specifically. I can tell you this area is still evolving, but it will serve us well if we keep understanding this. Two areas where I see personally Gen AI affect a lot now is in areas where there is some productivity improvement involved, and in areas where there is customer service involved. These are two really common use cases which are already out there. And even for things like, and I was speaking to someone from Meta the other day, and we were on a panel, and we're now in the age where you can just write a prompt, and it can throw you three or four or five options for creatives. So creative development, etc., that gets fast tracked and facilitated. That has then ramifications into other areas like your ability to run more and more campaigns on social media, try new creatives, do more A/B testing, and that all leads to, again, that's a cycle that keeps going on and on. So these are things that are evolving. There are a lot of AI tools out there, and at least the ones that you have access to, it's a good idea to get your hands dirty and see what it means, or read up or even train yourself in these areas. Finally, I'd just like to end. Sorry, I'm sending a lot of gyan your way today, but that's kind of my brief for the day. But I thought I'll end up with some tips on what I've seen are really key to your growing quickly in a corporate career. One is, of course, the area, and these schools teach you this, or most colleges, etc., schools teach you this, but they don't. I think personally, I feel they don't teach us enough. One is, trying to excel in communication, no matter what area you work in, be it finance, be it administration, HR, payroll, sales, customer service. Communication excellence is something that is better. The sooner you learn this in your career, the better. Of course, many of you, I'm sure, have a natural knack to it, but there's still a lot of learning and understanding to do in this area. And this does not only mean marketing communication, but also written communication. How do you communicate with your peers? How do you drive alignment? Because a lot of marketing today is actually project management. It is working with many departments to bring all of it together. So how do you align? How do you bring more stakeholders together? And how do you also align, with your leadership to ensure that you get the objectives that you need? So this is an area that it's good if you read some literature, or learn by following others, etc. It's a great area. If you're trying to build a career in marketing, then chances are, if you're not on the agency side but on the client side, you will be working with agencies, or even if you're on the agency side, you will have people whom you will need to work with to get creatives, etc. in place. So how do you write a really effective brief? How do you bring your business goals, targets, and communication objective together? That's an area that got to learn. This again goes back to what I was saying in the communication excellence area. My third area, my third point, which is project management. I just give you one example that we did, and on the Pluxee launch campaign that we have, there was just so much work together that there was just a PMO position or a project manager's office that we had to create only for that. This is a person with a marketing background. So I can tell you with a lot of confidence, and having worked in many industries now, project management is really key to a good, solid career in marketing. And depend whichever part of cycle you are in, you have to do it. The final thing, and the final two things, and I meet a lot of young marketeers. I have probably across all my roles now, I would have interviewed more than 100 people. Having this can-do attitude, taking every task by the scruff of its neck, and delivering it is something that I see more and more people can benefit from if they ingrain it. So some of you might be just coming out of B school. When we leave B school, I know there's a lot of expectation of what your first job will look like. Trust me, it always looks much more different than what you've been told in B school. So having the right attitude and taking each task not at face value, but as something that adds up to a larger objective, can really be the key between you being another team member, and you being really someone who's exhibiting leadership and a knack for the next level. And that's kind of fits into the next role. Your next role will not come through a designation or through a promotion letter. It comes much before that, through how you carry yourself and how you go about in your work life. So always it's a good idea to exhibit the kind of behavior you expect you will have to in your next role, and you will see with that sort of an attitude or mindset, you will reach your next role much quicker than saying, okay, I will wait, and the day I get promoted, I will start doing these things. Final thing is, again, whichever part of marketing you work at, including if you're a core brand person, numbers and a knack for numbers, and just that orientation is there because you need to showcase ROI, you need to show some objectives and how you're doing against them. Even if you're a pure play brand person, for example, things like share of voice, things like reach, impressions, etc. These are always key. And then comes knowing how to work your way from a budget to results, and which is against objectives. So numerical ability is pretty much key. That kind of pretty much brings me to an end of my presentation. I thought also I'll share my coordinates here and our company coordinates. So if there are any questions in future, we're more than happy to stay in touch and address anything. So I think we're already almost a minute, about our time. I'm sorry for that. Prashant or anyone from the first Naukri team, would you like to just take over?
Yeah, hi Harish. Saga will take this side.
Harish, I'm assigning the questions to you, so if you can answer the same. Harish, if you are facing some difficulty, shall I read the questions to you?
Yes, I am not able to see. Wait, let me just get there. Yes,
It
now
will be in the question.
I could now get it. Yes.
Okay, all right.
Uh, okay. First question is about ESG of late. There has been a lot of conversation around ESG everywhere, and the question is asked: how do you suggest marketers start, integrating ESG in campaigns and day-to-day functions? I think it's a great question. Yes, ESG is an important area, and there are action paper. I think the key to building a marketing campaign about around ESG, first probably there is actually for the company to have an ESG strategy. So if you are in a marketing or a product role in your company, the first thing is to pretty much bring everyone together and have a clear insight. What are you trying to do as an ESG company? And every ESG initiative that you trust me is a great message to send out there to your larger stakeholder base. There's a lot of literature going out there, but I can tell you some figures that I recall top of my hand. In a study that I saw recently, around 33 to 34% of people already choose products they feel have a more sustainability or ESG, related orientation in the market. So the first thing is to know what the company is doing. Second thing then is, build a communication around that so that we communicate out in the market. Um, the thing there is the final thing around this is that there is a lot of things that yes marketers can do to also further the initiative. On the product side, I can tell you there are a lot of things we are doing today, including reducing plastic usage, reducing paper usage, etc., to drive the sustainability goals that our company has. So there is a lot that you can also do as a marketeer or a product marketeer in this area. Sagar, can you help me read some more of the questions? Because there are a lot of questions, so I'm getting a little bit. So you can just. I think there is a question around the most impactful trends, and I think I just touched upon that, the landscape. So I think Gen AI, Web 3.0, experiential marketing, influencer marketing, these are areas that I see are the ones which are changing the shape of the industry, and these are things that you need to look up. There is a question on a specific marketing campaign that I'm particularly proud of, the key factors that contributed to its success. As I said, I think I'll just stick to the Pluxee campaign that we did now. Just before this, we completed 25 years in India, and we did a campaign on this. And in both of these, I think key success parameters are around were around how we just project manage everything, picked up the business objective, and then for that particular business objectives, built an effective communication strategy, which then went into building campaigns. So I think as a marketer, what kind of makes me today confident after running a few campaigns on many campaigns now is how to A, start with the business objective, B, then make a really effective plan which is ROI centered, and C, then project manage it to conclusion. So these are 3 steps which if any of you are starting your career, if there are any campaigns then and you would like to focus on something specifically, these are 3 areas that I'd like to point you to focus. I think that's pretty much. I think we're already 5 or 6 minutes over. So thank you for having me, First Naukri team, and thank you for everyone who joined the webinar this evening. Sagar, do you just like to close it out on behalf of First Naukri? Or Prashant, anyone here?
Yeah, Harish. Yeah, Harish. Okay, so thank you, Harish. Thank you for sharing your experience and insights with us today. We truly appreciate your time and dedication in making this session a success. We are closing the session now. Thank you everyone for joining. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.